How radical are you about showing love to others? And that is a serious question. Have you ever been radical about showing love? Have you ever been radical about anything? Have you ever had such intense emotion about a particular thing that it borderlined on obsessive? I really want to talk about what it's like to be radical about loving people. But I want to preface it by saying, even if after this video you find yourself leaning towards a more loving side of you, that doesn't make you better than anybody. You can wake up every day and show love to everyone that you see. You can correct discrepancies that you see in the matrix, even if in thought alone. But that doesn't make you better than any soul you see. We're all one, and love is our true nature. Being radical about love is essentially just being so you to full. That out of the way. When I started learning about the law of one and seeing how perfectly it fit into everything that had previously felt right to me, I had this thought, like, but people don't know this. That's why the world is so fucked up. Because if people knew that we were one, then we could just change things overnight, right? And me and my naivety, I went about it in the manner that I had seen done before me. The radicalness inside of me comes from somewhere, and it's probably my mom. She was radical about her beliefs to the point where everyone that she met, everyone that she ran into, she made sure that they didn't leave her presence without knowing that Jesus loves them. They're a child of God. They are blessed. They are redeemed. They are saved if they believe it, if they can accept it. And I'm not exaggerating. She'd tell that to everyone at the conclusion of any conversation. It could be someone that she just met on the street that happened to exchange hellos, and there it is. Jesus loves you. You're a child of God. You're blessed. You're redeemed. You are saved. I have no idea about things like, had no idea about things like neurodivergence, or I definitely know how well my mother fit into the spectrum and how well I probably fit into the spectrum with some of my mannerisms. And seeing this thing that felt like such a deep truth, it lit that light bulb or that fire inside of me that I guess reading the Bible and Christianity did for my mother. I may make videos now, but I got no idea about being an influencer. I don't necessarily want to be an influencer. I don't want to influence people to do shit. I want you to know who you are and then just allow Source to influence you wherever you need to go. Allow that still small voice inside of you to calmly nudge you so that you're always exactly where you need to be. So for me, I went off of what I knew, and that meant if I see somebody or hear people talking and their words represent a assumption of lack, an assumption of defeat, an assumption of them being less than they were, then I'd step in. And I'd say something, and I'd give them a word, or I'd help to uplift them. And then I quickly realized that came off as preachy, and people don't like to be preached to, even though I didn't see it as that. I saw it as, this is the most helpful way that I can directly address the thought that led to what I hear. So I adjusted. And instead of directly conveying messages, I switched to a more indirect means of conveying what I believe to be the knowledge that I had gained. So I made it my task to ensure that every action that I took aligned with whatever message I was trying to send, based on the state of mind that I had seen people in. So in places like my work, if there were certain cliques or groups of people who abide by certain lower frequency actions, pulled together by certain lower vibe activities, I'd show them an alternative by just living that. If I see people who were so hung up on status that they measure themselves through the people around them, I'd show them that status means jack shit by completely shunning the crowd and staying to myself and somehow still standing out. I realized quickly, though, that was even more dangerous than directly addressing concerns or directly, talking to people about their state of mind. Because I realized what that did was led to a perception that I believed myself to be better than anyone, and it's not the case. So after this, taking a direct and then an indirect approach, I was a bit at a loss, because I still felt like the best way that I can be of help is to ensure that at least the people who come in contact with me get this spark that I've got, get this light, this fire inside of them about everyone, about hope, about the potential of people because of the divinity within us all. What way can I share that without having people judge me or think, oh, well, he's showing love, he must be gay, or he's acting in this manner, he must think that he's this, or he must be doing, without all of the assumptions associated with, just being somebody who's coming from a depressed position to just trying to show the light that you found. How do I do that? And I asked myself, what type of world do I live in where it's such a potentially dangerous thing for somebody to do that? And I say it's a potentially dangerous thing because you got to realize, to be a person who's introverted but still showing love. So you're not somebody who's sitting around gossiping. You're not somebody who's trying to go out to all of the parties. You're not somebody who's with the happy hours. You're not somebody who's with kissing ass or anything like that. You're somebody who's for truth. You're somebody who's for uplifting people. You're somebody who's for stepping into a conversation when you hear somebody being bullied. You're somebody who's for changing somebody's mind when they're degrading themselves. You're somebody who's for going out and, grinding to get better. Not because you want to look better for anybody else, but simply because you want to feel better for yourself. It's difficult if you take that mindset into a low frequency environment and you radiate there. That's how people get lied on and lose jobs. That's how marriages are broken up. That's how families fall apart. That's how friends who've been friends for years will fall out. Be in a low position and have an entire circle around you who knows you as somebody who's low, somebody who's depressed, somebody who's anxious, somebody who doesn't have much confidence in themselves. And then start getting confidence. And then start growing. Start changing your life. You changing your life will, if you're like me anyways, it'll cause you to want to share what you've learned. If you've been low for most of your life and now you found something that actually makes you feel good about waking up in the morning, and you realize that we're all part of one consciousness, why wouldn't you want to share that if you believe that there's potentially people who feel as low as you once did? And you're no longer feeling like that. Why wouldn't you want to share that? Why wouldn't you? I see all the shit that goes on in this world, all the pendulums that have their influence in all matters of human affairs, and the change that we really are looking for, the growth, really, it's a better word, that we're looking for, it's not going to come from some radical movement. That's not it. Because any radical movement in one direction causes opposing forces, balancing forces to rise up in the opposite direction. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be an internal change, a change to radical love for each individual soul. When us as souls choose radical love, when it's accepted to just be empathic, to be loving, to walk into a room, feel the energy, and then speak based off of how the vibration needs to raise. Speak to raise. Operate from a place of love. When that becomes the baseline, when that becomes accepted, that's when the thought forms that we radiate, that's when our collective group thought forms that become these pendulums that we set up and structures to help us as entities, as religious organizations, as political affiliations, these entities that we set up, they become higher vibrational as we become higher vibrational. It's no wonder that the pendulums that we created have controlled us. Look how destructive and low vibe we've been for years. Can we ever become, as a society, radical about loving each other? Do you see that as possible? Whoever you are, wherever you are, do you see hope in that? Or do you just see that as a pipe dream? I'm someone who was so broken. There was a time I don't think I loved anyone because I damn sure didn't love myself. And if I'm not, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm not better than any of you. We're all one. We're all learning here. This is an experience that we're all traversing through. If I can change and become radical about the fact that I love you all, I don't think there's anyone who can't. I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you all. This is A Spark.